Well, all the segments we've covered so far have covered basically mechanical training. We've covered at the beginning the 5 basic fundamental items. We've covered also some of the fine-tuning techniques in these last few segments. We've covered barrier training. These things are designed all primarily to put you into the right order in your game. And then finally, there's a situation where you have to learn how to fine-tune your game with isolation training. Now, isolation training is something I developed years ago to help players when they had a glitch in their game and they couldn't really isolate it into one specific point. They would try to combine too many elements together, and it basically was very hard to train properly because the brain couldn't pick up all the items at the same time. So I'm going to explain what isolation training is, just to give you a very simple example. If you take a piece of chalk, and let's assume you're not chalking every time. If you were to take a piece of chalk and you pick it up from the table and chalk up like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the number's not important how many numbers it is. It's just that you have a consistency to chalking. Then put your chalk down and wait a second. Then pick the chalk up again, chalk again, then put the chalk down, and then wait again, and pick up the chalk and do it again. If you did that for 5 or 6 reps, and you did that 5 times a day with 5 or 6 reps, that would be 25 times a day for about a week. You basically would know how to chalk because you isolated the concept of chalking for those that don't chalk all the time, which is basically about 70% of all people, even though they believe they are actually chalking. So this is an example of how you can fine-tune something to a specific, detailed item to isolate the problem and then to reinforce through practice that technique so that it becomes looking professional. Now, in terms of shooting shots, I had mentioned in one of my segments about hesitation of your cue stick on the backswing. So I want to particularly focus in on that isolation technique because in the isolation of a stroke, we have to learn to develop that hesitation. Now, a lot of players struggle with that. It's not something you can just do. You have to practice it. So this would be how you'd practice it. You would chalk up for your shot, put 5 balls on the table in front of you, put the chalk down, step into your shot with your pre-shot routine, go back and forth on your shot, come back real slow, hesitate. You can go to any count you want, 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, and then just simply take the ball and put it in the pocket. Then take the chalk again on your next shot, chalk up, see the shot, step into the shot, cue under the shoulder, plumb bob effect, come back real slow, and then put the ball in the pocket. Then we'll go to the next shot, come back to the shot, go back like this, come back real slow, put the ball in the pocket, and continue to do this for the next 2 balls. Now, after you've done this for 5 balls, and you do that basically for 5 reps, you're going to be doing that 25 times a day for about a week. So that would be about 125 times you would do that in a week process. By doing that 25 times and putting it in the pocket for 5 days, you would have your 125 reps. I will guarantee you by the end of the week, you're going to know how to hesitate at the end of the backswing because you're not focusing on shooting the ball. You're not focusing on anything else. You're just simply focusing on creating a hesitation. So the muscle memory is being programmed to do exactly what you want it to do so that when it stops at the backswing, you've isolated that movement to any count you want. It can be a small to a long-term hesitation, but basically you want to just bring it back, isolate it, learn how to hesitate through this technique, and then your game will have a free flight of release on the front end of the equation, and you'll be able to shoot just like the professionals. So I want you to work on these isolation techniques. Whatever you have a problem in your game, isolate the problem, don't make it complicated, work on it with repetition, and your game will go to the very next level and beyond. So I hope you've enjoyed this CSI instructional tip.